Welcome to Parenthood Bites, the podcast where we explore life as a parent in tech. I'm your host, Chow, and I have over 15 years of experience in tech, and I'm also currently working as a career coach. I'm the proud mother of 3 incredible boys. In each episode, we have an inspiring guest who will share their remarkable story. You'll find their wisdom and insights both relatable and enriching, because after all, we're all in this parenting journey together. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's dive into today's episode. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 84 of Parenthood Bites. We're here today with Klaudia McDonald, who is the founder of Bobo, a supportive platform for modern parents. Hi Klaudia, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, thank you for being a part of this podcast. Did you have a good weekend?
I did have a great weekend, but I have a 4 and a 3-year-old, so unfortunately, we're going into that moment where we're going from the winter into springtime. So we have quite a lot of illness at home right now. So we're just going through ups and downs of energy, and you know how it is.
I do, especially at that age, right? I think there was a time where I was like, am I ever going to stop getting sick? Because it was like
Exactly.
the kids get sick and then we get sick. And when we get better, they get sick again.
Exactly, exactly. And, I've seen so much content about it online where you think that you have a great immunity system, but no, it's actually we're just never exposed to somebody coughing directly onto your face.
And they do that, right? Whenever they're
They
sick, it's
do.
like right in front of you, just coughing, sneezing, all of that.
Exactly. But how can you not, right? If your
Right.
child is at discomfort, you just want to make them feel better. You just want to ensure that they are good. So it's kind of necessary evil at this point.
Yeah. It's like whenever the kids get sick, we're just like, okay, that's fine. Just brace ourselves. Be ready for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we call it the mirror in the future. That's how we see it.
Oh my gosh. I love that you have a term for it. So I understand, you're the founder of the Bobo app. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how you came up with that idea?
Sure. So I'm Eastern European, but majority of my life I actually lived and worked in London. I was a very career-driven person, and I've been focusing quite a lot of my effort into driving onto the next steps. And then I met my now husband, and I moved for him to Canada just before COVID, around 2 months before COVID. So I found myself in a brand new environment with surrounded by brand new people, and I got pregnant. It was a very happy period for us. We've been very fortunate that we could, start our family. But the reality was that having first child during COVID was pretty challenging, especially when I found myself in a brand new medical system without my immediate support network. My parents haven't met my firstborn until she was 10 months old. So there were quite a lot of things that we missed out as a family on, and I missed out on as a mother throughout this journey. So naturally, what we had to do was to find resources, was to go online. And what we have found is that, you're trying to go through all the content that is on TikTok and how it's being verified. Not everything is great and reliable on those platforms. And then on the opposite spectrum, you had all the medical resources and government websites, which didn't really speak to us as modern parents. And with regards to the apps available on the market, you kind of had to download one app. You used it for maybe 2 or 3 months, and then you had to delete it and redo it and start your journey all over again. So we just decided that there had to be a better way of supporting parents. We wanted to utilize our experience in working in a big consumer brands before to create offering for parents that will, one, resonate with them, but also be actually useful. I think that term is very important to us. Is parenting is hard enough. We know this. Right now, hardly ever people can afford to have one parent stay at home. Majority of couples are working, and trying to navigate this new reality, navigating parenting, becoming this new person, and then not have support is extremely challenging. So, our mission is to make parenting easier, cheaper, and more straightforward than ever before. So, that's how the Boba came to fruition.
Wow. And you did all of this in a new country, being pregnant, navigating newborn. How did you do that?
Well, like, so me and my husband are about to celebrate our fifth wedding anniversary, and we did,
Congratulations.
thank you, and we did a summary. So, in 5 years that we're married, we had two children. We lived in four countries on two different continents. We have changed several jobs, and we started our own business. And on top of it, we traveled a fair amount. So we are a great match to each other. We match our pace and we have a very busy life. I think the recipe for us to manage it is to, one, go with the flow and just have our children being raised alongside us. We are trying to be parents that take our children on the journey and they are a part of our journey rather than changing our personalities and our lifestyle to match having children, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of times when we have kids, our identity is slowly tied into just being their parents, and a lot of times we forget about the things that energize us, the things that we want to do, and our goals and things, right? So it sounds like you really have kept that focused and brought them along and let them see how life can be when you prioritize those things and them at the same time.
100%. And it is a lot of hard work to keep reminding yourself that it's a family journey. It's not individual journey, but I think it's worth it. I think our kids have seen places, had experiences that will shape their future and how they see the world. And I think that's more valuable than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for your app, does it allow people to search for different childcare things? What does it help parents with?
So our platform, the first and predominant thing is that we are very much localized. So depending on the country that you're in, we are providing you localized resources. So if you're in Canada, you're seeing Canadian resources. If you're in the UK, you will see UK medical-based resources. What we allow parents is to receive personalized content. So you can bring on the journey of parenting anybody within your support network. You can use it with your partner, you can use it with your grandparent, with nannies, anybody in the support network, and everybody who contributes to that profile receives different content personalized to them. On top of it, we allow parents to track their own well-being as well as their child's well-being. We we saw from our own experience is that partners tend to be forgotten within that journey quite often. And it's important for two reasons. One being partners themselves are going through a lot of changes. But two, it is a family journey after all. I felt much more comfortable with myself and how I handled my postpartum, how I handled the pregnancy itself when I felt that my partner was on the same journey with me and understood all the changes that were happening with me. So we put a fair amount of emphasis on ensuring that shareability aspect, that family aspect of the app, and ensure that everybody can contribute to this. But I think the most important thing is that we essentially want to get to the stage where our platform will learn about your preferences, your child development to equip you with actions and insights to increase the ability and acceleration of your child's development. I will give you a very personal story of our son, Rain. He is just over 3 years old and he has a speech delay. Should we have known as parents that there is actions and steps or things to look out for ahead of, reaching 3 years old, we would have, but we didn't know. All the daycare providers or specialists that we have seen before were very much dismissive and they were telling us, he will grow out of this, just give him time. But the reality is, if we would have known what to look for or how to help him at the age of 1.5, at the age of 2, we probably would have been able to support him earlier on this journey, not wait until 3.5 years old to actually get him the support that he needed. And we took all of our learnings, our experiences, spoken with quite a lot of parents across, and we think that we can get to the point where we will be able to support parents in navigating those difficulties, delays, and challenges. So they are being equipped into how to support their children going forward the best.
Oh, that's really neat. So it sounds like, you were saying it tracks your kids' well-being, so it sounds like it grows along with your kid. So as your kid gets older,
Exactly.
it will help with the things that you should watch out for, the resources and things like that.
Exactly. So our platform, unlike anybody on the market, grows with you. You can start utilizing our platform as soon as you're going to decide you want the family, and is supporting parents with children up until around 6 to 7 years old.
Oh, that's neat. And you mentioned UK and Canada. Are those the places you're available at, or is it everywhere?
So right now we are available in Canada with the plans to launch in the US and UK, as well as Europe in the next couple of months.
Oh, that's really awesome. So how do people find your platform? What is the website?
The website is theboboapp.com, but you can also find us on Apple Store and Android Store. I would be more than happy to share with you some additional insights offline if you would like to see that too.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll definitely add this information into the show notes as well because this sounds so valuable and I'm sure there's a lot of parents that could benefit so much from it.
And
Um,
the best thing about our platform is that we're also fully for free. Our platform saves parents around $99 in subscriptions, which is a very big part of our mission to making it more affordable for parents. Because right now, the current market conditions, having a child is as much as economic decision as a family decision.
Yeah, everything is so expensive now, and to have something like that to be free and at your fingertips just sounds really amazing and something that every parent could really utilize. So you said in the US in about 2 months, 1 to 2 months,
Yeah.
right? So I'll keep
Yes,
an eye out
yes.
for that. That's really neat.
I'm definitely going to send you the details once it launches.
Yeah, definitely. That would be really cool. And then we'll share it here as well. So you mentioned you have 2 kids. What ages are they? You said?
My oldest daughter is 4 years old. She's turning 5 in September. And then my son is 3.5. His name is Rain.
Those are really fun ages. I'm sure it's a lot of fun in your house. Very busy. Right.
It's very busy. There's a lot of fun, and we are trying to navigate. We just signed them up for all the extra classes, trying to enroll them in gymnastics, languages, swimming. So it's a very busy household right now, but it is a great time. I love everything about having those two running around, and they love each other so much. They are obviously fighting just like siblings that are especially this close in age, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah, I love that. So are they both in preschool, daycare right now?
They are in preschool right now, with my daughter Lala going to kindergarten in September. So there will be a bit of changes.
Yeah, that's a huge step going to elementary, I feel like.
It is. And because we're based in Canada, she will be also starting kindergarten in French. So there will be some additional changes.
That's neat. So right now in preschool it's in English and then do you speak French at home?
I don't. I'm not familiar with French, but because I'm Polish, we speak at home in Polish and in English. And then because we lived in Germany, both of my kids speak German also. So we are trying to maintain all of those languages. And now we're just adding the fourth one to the mix, which is going to be a very interesting dynamic because I don't speak it. So I'm cautious of the time where the kids will be able to speak the language that I don't. So they will be probably trying to utilize it against me and my husband.
But that's so cool that you're having them learn all these different languages. Was that a conscious decision that you and your husband made?
Very much so. I speak fluent Polish and I speak Polish to my kids at home, trying to be very diligent about it. It's a lot of work, but I think it's going to benefit them a fair amount. With regards to German, we lived in Germany, so both of my kids learn German at daycare, and we are just trying to maintain it by signing up them for classes, but also letting them watch cartoons in German and trying to maintain it that way. I put a fair amount of emphasis on language development. I know how good it is for the child's brain, and I wouldn't want them to miss it.
And at that age, they learn it so quickly, right? They pick
Egg
things up so
sponges,
fast.
very,
Yeah.
very much, very much. And so I'm very excited that they're going to be also learning French. I think it's going to be a great value add for them in the future.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And like you said, I think it's just about maintaining that in them. I had my kids, we spoke Mandarin to them when they were little, and then they went to school and they started speaking English. And then I think we weren't as strict about it at home. And now in retrospect, I'm like, oh, I should have been more strict about it, like my mom was. She was like, if you don't speak Mandarin, I'm just not going to speak to you. So
And I can fully appreciate how difficult it is. It is a lot and tons of effort, and I don't think people truly realize how much. It also takes an emotional toll, right? Because like you said, I am taking your mom's approach. I am like, I'm speaking to you Polish. If you don't know how to respond, you can tell me you don't know and I will teach you, but you cannot avoid it. And sometimes it is heartbreaking because you're seeing your child struggle trying to communicate something, but in the end, I think it's just going to benefit them so much that I'm happy to be hard on them with regards to that.
good for you for doing that because I know it's hard. Like you said, it's hard seeing them struggle, seeing them in pain. And you're like, oh, I could just, give them a pass and it's fine. But it's like, no, because eventually they will come up with it or they will ask or they will know how to ask you and things like that.
Exactly, exactly. But I'm not going to lie to you. Like our household is full of Ponglish, so that's what we call it. Even myself, I left Poland when I was 17, 18. So I lived a big portion of my adult life. It became a person living in the UK and then moved to Canada. So English is my first language at this point. So it is definitely challenging to be strict on them, but also apply the same level of strictness to me when it comes to that. But we're all in this together, I guess.
Good job. And so getting them into preschool and stuff, was there a wait list? Is it hard to do childcare over there?
It's not easy. Right now, I think we've been very fortunate to get them spots, but the reality for an average family in Canada is that they have to go on a wait list of 6 to 900 people.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
yes, wait lists for childcare are very extensive and very long. So I feel like at this point in time, people are just grabbing whatever support they can get rather than, going with the options that suit them best. You kind of just have to take what's available, which is a problem by itself.
But then when you have an older sibling in there, is it easier for the second sibling to go?
I think so. I think that was our experience, but I do not think that the rules are this strict. It very much depends on facilities, on the proximity of where you live, or even sometimes, unfortunately, who you know.
Gotcha. So just to jump back into your career, I was curious what brought you to a career in tech?
My parents are entrepreneurs and they work in hospitality space for a fair amount of time. So naturally, when I moved to London and I was studying, I started to work in hospitality. I did several years working in some big venues in London and I absolutely loved it. But then when I decided to do my master degree, I wanted to do something more related to project management, finance, etc. And by mutual connections, I have found this job for Just Eat. Just Eat is a food delivery company. At some point in time, they were owners of Grubhub. So I was working there and I was working with big brands like KFC and McDonald's, bringing them on board. And I absolutely loved every minute of it. It became having those big brands at some point became business as usual. So a natural path of progression was for me to move to product and tech. And I did. And I worked with over 23 different countries trying to bring their product needs to a globalized tech unit. And I loved working with so many different individuals, with so many different markets, seeing different challenges. And I've done it for majority of my professional career with obvious breaks for having two children in between.
Since you mentioned, the breaks or having kids, can you tell me a little bit about the parental leave that you had for both kids?
Yes, I did. I was fortunate enough that both of them were in the UK, and UK is very good for parental leaves. Very good in comparison to other markets. You can take between 6 to 12 months off, and 6 months is typically 100% paid,
Wow.
which is absolutely great in comparison to I know what's happening in US, but even in different markets. So we've been very fortunate for that period. I've taken 6 months each time and I loved every minute of it. But there was definitely the moments where I felt like I was falling behind in my career. And I think looking back at it, I should have taken a longer amount of time off because I had the opportunity to do so. But my own internal pressures pushed me to go back because I felt like I'm missing out. I felt like, I saw my husband progressing in his career, I saw my colleagues progressing in their career, and I felt like, especially that I had children back to back, I felt like I'm kind of stagnant in my career progression. So definitely a challenging time from like individual perspective, but looking back at it, I don't think it was worth it, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. So did you, going into it, did you already decide you were going to take 6 months, or was it as you were taking it, you were feeling a little bit anxious about work?
I think a bit of a column A, a bit of a column B. Like, I think I went into the leaves assuming that I will take only 6 months. And then, kind of, the feelings throughout the leave reinforced it that I want to go back. But, like I said, I think looking back, taking this excess time with my children would have been much more beneficial long term to my well being. But at the same time, you just never know. You kind of are basing it on your own feelings and how you're feeling in that moment. So it was definitely an interesting time.
Yeah. So how was it going back to work after your leaves?
Especially when you're working for a big corporate company, it can be challenging. Pregnant women tend to be kind of forgotten in that time, bypassed in promotions, bypassed in development. So seeing your colleagues that you worked alongside progressing and you're not progressing can be definitely challenging, especially on individual that is very much ambitious in their career progression. So I would definitely say that if you're working for a big corporate business, it can get tough from a perspective of feeling excluded, from a perspective of being tough on yourself. But I think there's a fair amount of work from the employer side that should be done to improve the quality of that leave.
Yeah. So how did you navigate that? Were there some tools or techniques that you did to help yourself get through that?
I wish I could say that I've done something proactively to get better and to make it easier myself. But the reality is, I took a pretty strong emotional hit during that time. Looking back at it, definitely it was not worth it. Looking back at it, I think there is definite learnings to be taken from that moment. I wish to say to you that yes, I've done X, Y, and Z, and it made it so much easier on me. But the reality is, when you're in that moment, when you're this emotional, when you're trying to navigate parenting as it is for the first time, or navigating parenting with a second child, that's a totally brand new learning. You're feeling those emotions so much stronger at that time. that I think in general there should be a higher level of responsibility or on employer to ensure that parents are included in that journey and they are supported through that space.
Absolutely. I was the exact same way. I was so worried, about what was happening at work, what I was letting go, and what I wasn't taking care of. And then going back to work, I felt like I needed to give it my 200% to show up at work, to show that, hey, even though I have a kid now, I'm still the same person. I still work as hard. And we have that internal pressure for ourselves.
Yes, very much so. There's a tons and tons of pressure that we apply on ourselves trying to, like I mentioned to you about my podcast, having it all, right? But what does it mean to have it all? I think the definition should be individual. Every woman's all is different, and that's totally fine. But I think what can be helpful going forward is to have more forums like even your own podcast where you speak about it. We need to be as a woman in this community, we need to be transparent about it. We need to be transparent about the challenges rather than trying to put that brave mask and be like, no, I'm doing it all. It's all perfect. It's not. And it's very much okay to speak about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad you brought up your podcast because I think we're talking about that a little bit before the recording. Can you tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about your podcast and, what you do?
Yes. So I've started to record my podcast around a year and a half ago. And I've called it She Has It All because what I'm trying to do is essentially debunk the myth of having it all. I've been interviewing successful women, whether it's from the UK or Canada, who are mothers, and we are exactly having very similar conversational talks about the challenges of motherhood and what does it mean to have it all for each individual. There's so many learnings that I have taken from speaking with so many amazing women. And I wish that women would start joining more transparent conversations, being like, parenting is not easy, parenting is hard. I think it's all about the community that we're building around each other and the transparency within it.
Yeah, and that's so important because so many times we think we're alone. We're like, okay, everybody else has it figured out, right? You look at their social media, you talk to people, they just seem to have it all figured out. It's like they have that perfectly packed lunch, those perfect outfits for their kids and things, but we don't see enough people talk about the real struggles, the real day to
Ah,
day things.
yes, 100%. That's why I have a love and hate relationship with social media. I like looking at, like you said, all of those perfect moms on TikTok or Instagram can be extremely damaging because we women have been raised as always being compared to somebody else, whether you're compared by your parents to an A-list student or whether you're being compared by your peers or at work, whatever it is, the nature of comparison is toxic on its own. But when you're pairing it with access to so much content on social media and so much fake content, that's the reality of it. It's very easy to go that rabbit hole of, yes, I'm not good enough mom, or I'm not good enough person, or like particularly close topic to my heart was, oh, I'm not skinny after 6 weeks. I'm not in that shape. Like, oh my God, this girl just gave birth and she looks stunning. And then I'm there struggling to come back to my old body, very much knowing that's never gonna happen because I have a brand new body that just gave birth. But it is very damaging for women to do that to themselves. And I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah, and I remember they would say like, "Oh, if you're breastfeeding, that will burn off X calories." And I'm like, "Okay, but it's not working for me. What's wrong with me?" And then you realize like, "No, this is not the reality. Maybe for a small number of
Yeah.
people, this is not the reality for everyone." And it's okay.
Yes, I'm laughing because I know exactly which post you're talking about because I had exactly same thoughts. I'm just like, I didn't breastfeed my children. I was struggling with milk production. So like when I was seeing this type of post, I was like, maybe should I
Right.
try? Like should I like should I for like how can I make it happen? And it's just not healthy. It's not helpful. It's not healthy. And I think, in some countries in Europe, they made like a disclaimer on Instagram that you have to put a disclaimer being like, oh, this post was edited via what is it, Facetune or whatever. I feel like there should be disclaimers like this on on any advice for new moms.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then we're just going after the, not reality. And it's like we're giving ourselves such a hard time. I remember I was
Yeah.
like calorie counting because I was like, I need to get back into shape. And I was like, why don't they have, breastfeeding in there as an exercise? I'm like, I need to count that. That's extra calories. But now in retrospect, I'm like, that's so silly. It takes
Yeah.
9 months to have that baby, do all that. It's not going to take 2 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is to get rid of that.
I exactly. But the thing is that you're finding those type of content, different types of content relevant at different stages of journey, right? So right now, I have a 4 and a 3-year-old, and every time I go on TikTok, and bear in mind I have to go because I'm managing social media and marketing for my own business, and every time go on those platforms, I see videos of my day as a mom of three. Wake up at 4:45, exercise, prep lunches, do this, do that, then managing my own business. I'm like, how can you wake up at 4:45, do all of those things, trying to manage like 3 kids, all the drops off, pickups, manage your own business? I'm like, is that really manageable? And maybe it is for some. Like, I'm definitely not judging. I'm borderline envious of those people, but is that really honest that that's happening or is not? But nevertheless, I always compare myself, maybe like, oh, maybe I'm not productive enough. Maybe I'm not doing everything that I should be doing. So it's definitely at different stages of your parenting journey, like you kind of see different things that will resonate with you and hit that soft spot.
For sure. So, the last question I wanted to ask is if you could give one piece of advice to other parents trying to grow their businesses while raising kids, what would that be? Or something you wish you knew when you started this journey?
Honestly, I see quite a lot of times where parents are, how to phrase it. It's very easy to prioritize your businesses and dismiss your children from a perspective of when I have a business call, and my 3-year-old will walk into my office and sit on my lap, it is what it is. He's a part of the call now. And I feel like sometimes people take this internal pressure on themselves that no, you have to always act professional. People will know that you have children, but like you kind of almost have to act as you don't. You do have children. They will walk into your office. Sometimes you have to take them on a business call. Sometimes you do have to leave the office early to pick them up because they are sick, and that's okay. That to me, I think with time of having children, I've learned that you're a parent. That's your new reality. Trying to hide it or trying to, hide that you're not experiencing those late nights or waking up in the middle of the night to attend to your kid or trying to overcompensate at work. I feel like sometimes we just need to take a deep breath and be like, okay, that's okay. We are parents and that's our priority.
Yeah, that's so important. I think that's such an important message to send to parents because a lot of times we really don't think about ourselves. We're just like, okay, let's just go, 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 right? But we need to take a step back and think about, okay, it's okay to do these things for our kids. These are things we should
Exactly.
prioritize.
And it's very easy to behave like that when, for instance, you're the only parent in your team because you're feeling that, your team won't understand or your team is trying to overcompensate. But that's your new reality. You just kind of have to embrace it and go with the flow.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all those things with us, Claudia.
Thank you.
And I'll add a link to your platform in the show notes as well. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you so much. Great chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Parenthood Bites. We hope you found our episode informative and entertaining. If you're a parent in the tech world or know someone who is, we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to us at chow@parenthoodbites.co, and we'll be thrilled to add your experiences to our interviews. That's chow, CHIAO, at parenthoodbites.co. And to our potential sponsors out there, if you're a business or know of one that would like to support and partner with our podcast, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can also reach us at chow@parenthoodbites.co. Thank you once again for tuning in, and we wish you a fantastic rest of your week. Until next time, take care and stay curious.